Good morning and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be looking through another of these part complete master sets that I recently purchased. This one is the Jungle set and this cost me $271. So as ever, leave a comment and let me know whether you think this was a good deal or not. So let's have a quick overview of it. So you can see we've got the normal, the Japanese, some first editions, and we've actually got some of these no symbol ones for the hollows here. You see the two Flareons there. It goes to the next page. We've got a no symbol Jolteon. We've got 3 Kangaskhans, a couple of Mr. Mimes. No Nido, we're missing all the Nidoqueens, but it's not a big hit, so not too bothered. Pidgeots, Pincers. Oh no, we have got a Nidoqueen there, they're just put in the wrong place. Just the one Snorlax, but we have got 3 Vaporeons. We've got a first edition Venomoth there. All 4 of the Victory Bells. And all 4 of the Wigglytuffs. Then we go into the non-hollows. We've got most of the first edition rares. You can see there. The Vileplume. We have also got you can just see the D-Era Butterfree, which is a pretty rare card. Fearows, Marowak. See all there. We're into the commons now. We've got the 3 Pikachus there. We haven't got the W stamp one, but then at the end we've got the Pokeballs. So let's have a quick cut and get into looking at some of the hollows. Okay, so now we've had a quick overview of the set. So I picked out the hollows and a few of the non-hollows. So let's start having a look through them and see if there's anything worth sending off to PSA. So first we've got the no symbol Clefable. You can see the jungle symbol missing here. See a nice clean hollow. I can't really see many scratches at all on that one. It does have some silvering down the edge, which is pretty common. Well, it in fact is very common on jungle cards. So if we go over to the back, there's bits of whitening on the corner here and a little speck there. Another bit of whitening at this top corner here. So, but overall, it's a nice clean card, and that might. Oh, hang on, no, but you can't. It's difficult to spot, but there is some scratching on the back there, which is quite difficult to see, but it is there. So that probably will have to be sold at auction rather than PSA'd. Next we've got the Jungle Clefable. Immediately with this one, there is a scratch running along the hollow here. And if you look at the top and bottom centering, the top is quite a bit thicker than the bottom, a regular problem with Japanese cards. If we go over to the back, there is some sort of, it's like almost a stain in here, like somebody's spilt a drink on it. So give it a quick. Doesn't seem to be coming off, so, and there's some bits of whitening around the edge, so this is probably light play. Not a bad condition card, but definitely not one for grading. Next we've got first edition Electrode. The hollow on this is very, very nice. Very, very clean indeed. There is a silvering around the edge. You do often find with the silvering in these jungle cards that PSA don't really mark you down that harshly for it. They tend to, it's not too much of an issue. Although some people do have a problem buying these cards graded with the silvering. I don't know why. If you look on the back, there is sort of the edge here is not quite perfect. It's a bit, there's a bit of sort of edge whitening there, which is a shame because actually the rest of it is very, very nice. you look at the back, very little whitening elsewhere. It's just this edge is a bit rough. I think this maybe would still have a shot at a 9, but I think it's most likely an 8. So I'll have to think about whether to send that off. So we've got the no symbol electrode. Again, oh, no, I thought it was clean hollow, but there is a scratch just here. Just the one. I'm pretty sure it's a scratch, not a print line. Because other than that, there is quite difficult to spot, but there is some sort of mark in here as well. So that's probably a light play. And if we look on the back, the centering from left to right is not quite there. It's not quite perfect. So, I mean, I'd probably say near mint, well, maybe light play because of this marking down at the bottom, but not one for grading. So, next we've got the no symbol Flareon. This one does have some print lines running up here, which will hurt the grade. The centering is very good, both left to right and top to bottom. But if we do go to the back, there is a fair amount of whitening along the bottom, and there is some more along the top there, and a bit more here. So that is probably a light play card. Definitely not one for grading. The Unlimited Flareon. Yeah. If we look, this one does have some light scratching here and a deeper scratch here on the tail, which you might just be able to make out. The centering is strong on the front, but if we do go to the back, there is, you can see there, a fair amount of whitening. There's some more here and bits around the corners. So this is definitely light play, not one for grading. Let's go on to the Jolteon. My favourite artwork from this set by quite a distance. The hollow actually on this one looks very nice. With this one, it often has what look like scratches, but they are actually part of the hollow pattern, like the crackles of electricity coming off the Pokemon. Centering is good, actually very good. If we go over to the back, dropped it. You can see there is a bit of a rough edge along the top, bit of whitening there, some white specks there and there. So I think this is maybe an 8, largely because of this top edge. So probably not worth grading. If it were a first edition card, probably still would be worth grading for an 8, but not for an unlimited. So next we've got the Kangaskhan, no symbol. There is a scratch on the hollow there. It's not very visible, but it is there. There's a bit of silvering down this edge. Centering is very good top to bottom. Left to right, this side is a bit thicker than this side. If we go on to the back looks pretty good. There's a bit of whitening there, and just the normal bits around the corners, but other than that, it's pretty nice. That's a maybe for grading that one. Look at the Unlimited Kangaskhan now. This one does have some scratching here. Unfortunately, the person who sold me these sets hadn't sleeved all the cards before they put them in the folders, so I think a couple of them have picked up some scratches from the binder, which is really annoying, but still, it is what it is. Centering is good, no silvering really. But if we look on the back, you can see a decent chunk of whitening there. And again, the top edge is a bit rough. That's not one for grading. Probably a name ink card. So we've got the first of the Japanese holos, the Japanese Kangaskhan. As ever with these Japanese holos, they really do pop off the card, the holo patterns. The holo is very, very nice with this one. Very nice. Centering top to bottom. Bottom is a bit thicker than the top. And the left is a tiny bit thicker than the right, but it's actually not too bad. If we go on to the back, there is a bit of white, so you can see a bit there around the corner. There's some more here up at the top corner and here, and a bit more there. So yes, that's not one for grading, unfortunately. Oh, next we've got the No Symbol Mr. Mime. The holo is very clean on this one. There is a bit of silver in, but the centering top to bottom, top is a bit thicker than bottom, but it's not too bad. Left to right is very good. So if we go to the back, there is unfortunately a bit of, well, I would call it whitening, but if you feel it, it is like it does almost feel like a bit of damage. So I think because of that, this would not get above a 7 at PSA. There is a bit of whitening on the corners, but it's actually, other than that, it's actually really not too bad. But this probably stops it from getting more than a 7. So next we've got the Unlimited Mr. Mime. Again, a very nice clean holo. Centering is not brilliant, so if you see the bottom, is quite a bit thicker than the top. Left to right is fine. There is a bit of a mark here though, but that may rub off. If we go to the back, a bit of whitening there, and on that corner, and on that edge there. So that's, I mean, probably a near mint binder card, but again, you really need to be getting a 9 for those unlimited ones to make it worth grading. So not one there. So next we've got the Japanese Nidoqueen. It's very difficult to see, but just behind this back spine here, there are a couple of very small scratches on the holo. They're very difficult to see though, they're not very obvious, which is a shame because actually the centering is pretty good on this one. There is a small dark mark there, but then if we go to the back, you can see there's a bit of damage around the corner there, a bit more whitening. Well, I don't know what it's called, a bit of edge wear on the corner. There's a bit more whitening on the top, so I'd say this is moderate play. So definitely not worth grading that one. Next, got the Pidgeot No Symbol. I absolutely love the art on this. There is a fair amount of scratching on the holo. With this one, centering is pretty good. Then we go to the back, there is a decent amount of whitening there and there. So this at best is light play. So definitely not worth grading that. Pidgeot Unlimited now. There is a bit of a scratch there on the holo. There's a small one here as well. Nothing too major. Centering is a bit off. This side is a bit thinner than this side. And I think bottom is a bit thicker than top. Actually the back on this one is pretty good. Centering isn't amazing, so these two sides here are a bit thicker than the opposite two. There's really not much whitening at all on this one, which is a shame about the front, because I think this whitening is, I think this back is the best one we've seen so far from these. We've got the Japanese Pidgeot. Just look at the way that pops. Holo is pretty much bang on. I don't really see any issues with that. Centering, so the bottom and the left hand side are a bit thicker than the right and the top. but it's not terrible. Again, if we go to the back, it's a shame there is just a bit of whitening there near the top corner, and that's, aside from that, it's just the centering. Yeah, this is a maybe, because this maybe has a chance at a 9, but the centering worries me, and the fact that the whitening is all together. If this whitening was sort of spread out a little bit on each corner, I think they tend to be a bit less harsh. On that one's a bigger clump together. They don't really like that very much, so maybe on the Pidgeot. So next we've got the no symbol pincer. Very well. I'm not sure whether these are scratches or print lines, but there's a couple near the top there, just near its arm. Let's see if we can quite catch them. Outside of that, the front is pretty good, well centered. If we go to the back, the edge along the top is not perfect. There's a little bit of whitening there and a little bit more there. So I think this would probably get an 8. So after that, that is a maybe then. It might be, because it's a no symbol, might be worth sending off for an 8. So we'll have a think about that one. The unlimited pincer. The hollow actually looks very nice and clean with this one. Not much scratching there at all. It's well centered on the front. But if we go to the back, you can see there's a bit of whitening, and it's similar to the one earlier, that it's almost damaged, so that probably would not get more than a 7, which for an unlimited pincer is not worth doing, so that's not worth grading. Got the Japanese pincer. Oh, it's a nice little. There is a swirl here, but it's sort of partly obscured by the horn, which is a shame. But the front is clean, very clean. Centering is pretty good. The left to right isn't perfect, but it's not terrible either. If we go to the back, though, we can see a decent chunk of whitening there, and I think that would hurt it. There's a bit more whitening there, but not much, and a little bit more there, but which is a shame actually, because this one is very well centered on the back. So that's probably not. It's frustrating, because I think without that bit on the corner, this would probably get a 9, and that would be worth sending off. So we've got the unlimited Snorlax, the big hitter from the set. This does have a bit of scratching here. If we try and catch it, there's a bit of scratching. It's nothing major, but will hurt the card in grading. Centering top to bottom is good. This side is a bit thicker than this side. If we go to the back, it's not bad, but it's not perfect either. There's a couple of bits of whitening there, and some of the edges, it's not quite whitening, but they are a little scruffy. So not quite the frustrating set, this one. Next we've got the no symbol Vaporeon. The hollow, there's a bit of a scratch near the tail fin. One more there and one more there, so the hole's not perfect. Left to right centering is a tiny bit off. Yeah, so not quite. And if we go to the back, there is a bit of whitening there. There's a bit more along the top here, and there is a bit more on this corner there, and a bit on the bottom there. So this is probably light play. You could maybe call it a Neomink binder card, but definitely not for grading. So the unlimited Vaporeon. The hollow is nice and clean on this one. But unfortunately the centering is not brilliant. You can see the bottom is quite a bit thicker than the top. And if we look this side here, it's quite a bit thicker than this side. Go to the back, there is a bit of whitening here and here, and sort of on this side it's not quite whitening, but the edge is a bit scruffy, so another no there. Since we got the Japanese Vaporeon, look at that. Hollow is there is one scratch, quite a big one, running up here, which is a shame. Centering is okay, but then if we go to the back is not great. So you can see there's quite a bit of edge wear, and again there on the corner. So yeah, either moderate or heavy play that one. Got the first edition Venomoth. The hollow actually is very nice here. There's not much wrong with that at all. Centering is good. Left to right is a tiny bit off, but nothing major. If we go to the back, you can see this top edge here is a bit scruffy, and it's difficult to tell here, but if you look at it directly down, it is a bit worn. But aside from that, it is a bit here as well, and that's frustrating because I think aside from that, this is definitely at least a 9 candidate. So it's whether I need to have a think about that, because the rest of the card is pretty much bang on. It's just that top edge that lets it down a bit. So I have to decide whether I'll have a think about that one, whether that one gets sent off or not. So that's a maybe. It's got the no symbol Venomoth. There are a couple of scratches just above the head here. A bit silvering, but nothing major. Top to bottom centering is good. Left to right isn't as good, but is still not bad. If we go to the back, there is whitening on that corner, and a little bit there, and a little bit, and a little bit there. So this is definitely at least a name ink card, but probably because it's a Venomoth, like if this were a Snorlax, probably would be worth having a grade, having a go, but not for a Venomoth. And the Japanese one now. The hollow is clean, very clean. Centering actually is very good for a Japanese card. If we go to the back, there is a bit of a chunk of whitening there. And this bottom corner here is quite difficult to tell, but there's sort of a bit of a... It's not fully creased, but it's not perfect either. So again, that would probably limit this to getting a 7. So not worth doing for a Venomoth. So we've got the first edition Victreebel. Now the whole I'm trying to tell. So there are a couple of lines here, but I can't quite tell whether they're scratches or not. They don't really look like scratches. Let's get my ring light, see if I can. Sorry. Don't quite know with that. Difficult to tell. It's near the leaf at the top, but I can't quite tell if it's a scratch or if it's just part of the hollow effect, but I'll have to have a close look at that. So either way, the centering on this one is actually very good on the front. It's pretty much bang on. And if we go to the back, there is not much wrong with it. There's a tiny bit of whitening there, but outside of that, the edges are not perfect, but they're not bad either. Actually, this probably will be graded, this one. think this has a chance at a 9. I just need to double check the hollow here, but if that, I think this one probably will end up being graded. So next we've got the No Symbol Victory Bell. So there is a bit of scratching here. This actually has similar lines to the first edition one. Again, I can't quite tell if the scratches, but it does still have some scratching here. Centering is good. If we go to the back, there is a decent amount of white. You can see a bit on the top there, more on the bottom, and quite a bit around that corner. So this is light play, not grading. The Unlimited Victory Bell. This one does have a fair amount of scratching on the hollow, particularly this side. Which is a shame. Centering is good. There is a bit of whitening there and there. So, nope, not a grade there. The Japanese Victory Bell, again, just look at the hollow. Hollow is very clean there. Not much wrong with that at all. But the centering top to bottom is pretty good, but if you look at this side, the right hand side is quite a bit thinner than this side. But actually, if we go to the back, this is pretty clean. There's a small bit of whitening there. But aside from that, it's just the centering. So again, left to right, the centering this side is quite a bit thicker than this side. So it's just the centering that really lets this one down. So that's a maybe. So into the last of the hollows now, we've got the first edition Wigglytuff. There is a bit of scratching on this hollow, which is a shame because actually the centering is very good on this one. If we go to the back, there is a bit of whitening there and quite a bit along the bottom. So this is a light play card. The No Symbol Wigglytuff there. Again, a little bit of scratching on the hollow. Colourless cards, for some reason, the WotC era did tend to scratch up quite badly. So this is not an uncommon thing. So if you look on the pops for PSA 10s for these, they are tend to be very low for colourless cards. And you can see there is a bit of whitening there and a bit more on the bottom. So that's a light play card you can maybe get away with your min, but I wouldn't risk it. The Unlimited Wigglytuff. Actually, the hollow on this one is really clean. That actually is pretty much flawless. Centering is good. And then if we go to the back, there is very little whitening at all. Just, I'm not even sure if I call it whitening, it's just the edge isn't quite perfect. But it's definitely not bad. So I think that is going to be graded. That Unlimited Wigglytuff definitely has a chance at a 9. We now got the last of the hollows, the Japanese Wigglytuff. As ever with these, a really nice clean hollow. The centering sort of the left hand side and the top are a bit thicker than the right and the bottom, but it's not too bad. If we go to the back, it's nothing terrible, but there are some specks of whitening there and on this side there. So I'd say that's a near mint card, but not worth grading. I've just picked out a couple of the non-hollows too to have a look at. So we've got the Flareon, nicely centered. But if we do go to the back, there is a decent chunk of whitening there, and there is a bit more on the top, so that's not a grader. Look at the Vaporeon, again nicely centered on the front, but the back, if you look, the top is very thick compared to the bottom, which is a shame because actually other than that, it's pretty bang on. But I already have a few of these in a PSA 9, so I don't really want to send it off unless I think it's going to get a 10. Got the D error. You can see the first edition symbol is just misprinted, so it looks like a D. So I believe this card can be worth up to sort of $300 in a PSA 10. There is a bit of marking there and down the side here, so I'd have to see if that would rub off. But yeah, if we look at the back, actually the back is not brilliant. You can see a decent amount of whitening and marking there. So yeah, so that's not graded. And finally, we've got the Pikachu, the first edition Pikachu. Front looks good, and actually the back looks pretty good as well. There's a bit of whitening there, and the thing is, this card often sells for £20 or £30 in Near Mint Raw. So is it worth me spending £15 just to get a PSA 8? I think this might be, yeah. Actually, there is a bit of whitening and a bit of wear on that corner, so I think it's not quite gradable. I think it probably would get an 8. But again, if I can sell it for £20 without bothering to wait to get it graded, what's the point? So anyway, those cards all gone through. We've got these two definitely to be. So anyway, that's all these cards gone through. We've got these two definitely to be graded. A few others that I'm going to have a look through. But most of them will just have to be sold raw. But anyway, the thing is, if $271, if we get a couple of 9s with these two, then that's almost, it might pay pretty close to pay for the set. So I'm pretty sure I'll make a decent profit here. The rest of them will likely be going up the day after this video. Oh no, sorry, they will already be up when this video goes out. So do go and check eBay. Drop a like, leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.